This is the contact form for my application. Its purpose is to take input from the user and send it through to an application they use to send email. This is done by an XML layout, which is just simply 3 text views, and in between them are the actual fields where the user inputs information and then the button to send it. The contact form class extends the activity class, which when imported uses the methods such as onCreate. We've set the content view to the activity, which is just shown before, and then we've also called a setup method, which links all the objects of that activity to this Java class so we can use them. This also uses an onClick listener. The class implements the onClick listener, which then means this onClick method is used all the time, and there is a switch case which tracks the clicks and when it takes the ID from the click and then runs the intent or runs the method on whichever ID was clicked. Then the send email click calls the send email method, and what this does is checks if the fields have anything in, and basically some validation to make sure that the user's entered anything when pressing the button. So this is done by ifs and else ifs, and gets the text, sets it to string, tests the length, and if it's equal to 0, then creates a message displayed to the user, basically telling them to enter information. This is done for all 3 fields. So once that validation has been passed, then we go to the else, and then once the application is happy that the details are there, we're going to call this method, which gets the text from the fields on the activity and puts them into email, subject, and message. We then have to make a slight change to the email address, because the email intent that we're going to create soon takes an array list, a string array should I say, for the email. So we've called that email address, and we're going to pass in the value of email, which will be the user's input, and that should be an email. We then create the intent. We've called it send email, and that's going to be a new intent, and the action of that is going to be to send email. It's a built-in intent within Eclipse and Android, and what we're going to do is going to add some values to that intent. We add values by putting them into the intent. So we've called the intent, and we've called a method within that intent class, extras for email, extra for subject, and extra for text. And then we're going to pass in the information from this method. So email was sent to this string array, subject was sent to what is just the subject, and the message is just the message from the text fields above. So we're passing them through, and they're all going into the intent we created earlier. Another thing we can do with the mail is to define what type of mail it is. So we've called the intent, and we've said set type to plain text. So that's just declaring the type of email it is. And then we need to start our activity, and we're going to pass through the intent that we've called above, called send email, and that will then start the activity. as shown on here, this is the contact form, and because we haven't got the email on here, can't show you, but we can show the validation. So if we click that, send email, a subject must be entered, and that's the same for the message.